So this is just going to be a little test to make sure my OBS is working fine, that the volume and the actual recording quality is okay. And I figure, what better way to do that than showcase the new assassin, the new Japanese assassin, Susano, who is pretty cool. He's been out for a little while, yes, there's probably a few of these, but people are getting a little bit confused with exactly how he works and just how powerful and good he can be. So I guess we'll go over the abilities, what order to level the abilities in, the different types of builds you can go for, the builds that work on him, and yeah, just an overview of the new character. Firstly, this is his new recolor, which I think is probably one of the best recolors in the game. I think it looks fantastic, and I would have happily paid gems for this, but for 9,500 favor, I think it looks great. But anyway, I'm going to try not to bang on, try and keep this kind of short. So first of all, we've got our 1, which is going to be our first move that we level, because it's fantastic. So, our 1, it's got a 30 range on it. He moves in quick succession through these 3 mini abilities within the 1 ability. He has 3 seconds to fire the next one before the ability cancels itself. The first is a cone, which is really quite nice and large and easy to land. The second is a circle, and the third is a dash ability. So the first bit, a really nice big cone, really nice and easy to do. The second, the circle, incredibly easy to land, and the third being the dash. So we just go through these and look at actually what sort of damage we're going to be getting from these. What you'll notice is, when this eventually comes off cooldown, is that you can let it drop within the 3 seconds. So if I go like that, and then I'm waiting around and he's sort of gotten out of range or something, it can drop. But you do get a good little bit of time to use the next ability within the abilities. So first of all, straight off the bat, we've got 210 damage once fully maxed, which is what we're going to be concentrating on. So you've got 210 for your first cone, which is really nice and easy to land. You've got 210 for your second circle. Already, without any physical power whatsoever, we're looking at 420, which is a whole load of damage. But the best thing about the ability is the scaling is 90%. So you've got 90% on your first attack, you've got 90% on your second attack. That's 180% scaling on, which kind of takes us into how we want to be building this guy, really. For the purpose of checking out what it would be like if you went full power, which is something like this. Nope, it's not. It's golden bow. So that's full power. The most you can get on an assassin at the moment is 320. So you've got 320. And you've got 180% scaling on these two. So you've got 400, well actually we can just add them all up, it actually tells me right here. So we've got 290 plus 210, which puts us rather conveniently at 500. So what we're going to be doing to a god without any protection, which obviously isn't possible because all gods have base protections, but what we're roughly going to be doing is 1,000 damage, or just under, let's call it 900 with the base protections, in that short period of time. Like I said, they're both really easy to land, and to be getting 900 damage is ludicrous. Obviously this is like a real high power, really expensive build, but nevertheless, if you're in a joust game and it's dragging out and you start replacing out your moves and going for full power, because this is how you want to build this dude, is you don't want to bother with any sort of attack speed, because by doing that you're going to be ruining and sacrificing some of his ridiculous scaling, because his scaling's broken and it will probably get nerfed at some point. But for the meantime, you might as well take advantage of the 180 that you get off of these two alone. So first of all, we got a really cool build. We got a really cool first ability, sorry. And it just means you can get in there and get straight back out. It's not the world's longest dash, but it's enough to put enemies off chasing you a little bit. And if they are interested in chasing you, that rather conveniently takes us into our next ability, which is going to be our 3. So as far as actually leveling this dude up is concerned, you want to go 1, 3, we'll get a few levels here, we'll take us up to level 9 so we can get that those first 5 minutes of the game sorted. You're going to go 1, and then you're going to go 3, which we're about to show you. I've already messed this up, if you can believe that. We're going to go 1, which is a really good one that we just looked at. And then we are going to go 3, which is our awesome teleport. This teleport is like the Hunbat's monkey ult, the Hunbat's monkey teleport, and the Shaq hammer teleport rolled into one. So you can place this on the floor, which you can't do with the monkeys. You have to hit an enemy god or a minion. So it's a little bit like Shaq's hammer in that sense. You can just place it wherever you want. If you press it again, press 3 again, you will teleport to this. What's worth noting as well is you will teleport in the orientation of where you were facing once you press the teleport. It won't be the direction that you were when you faced it. So for instance, if I'm facing towards the Gold Fury and I put it out and then I turn around, when I teleport to it, I'm still facing the direction I am. It won't put me in the direction that I placed it. So it's worth, it can get disorientating. It's worth remembering that it's not going to switch your direction for you. You're going to have to do that manually. Something else that's really cool about this is not only is it like Shaq's hammer in a sense, but it's the best of both worlds. It's like the monkey that Hunbat has. You can put it onto an enemy, so we'll go over to Ra quickly and try and show you. So for instance, if you were chasing down a Janus and you could tell that he was running to a wall, and you know exactly what he's going to do when he gets towards that wall, he's going to put his portal out that you can't get through, and he's going to be away to safety. As soon as he just before he's about to get to that wall, if I can speak English, we pop one of these on him, and all of a sudden, as soon as he goes through that portal, you'll notice there, I hit him, Ra, when he was standing here with the ability. I did not teleport there. I teleported over here where he'd moved to, and it's really, really nice for that. It's just a great move, and you know what, just for chasing people down, if somebody's running back to base and you just need to chase them down, you can get towards them really quickly. And equally, if you've got a group of people chasing you and you're trying to get out, not only have you got the dash off of the back of this, but you'll see when it eventually comes off cooldown that it really does make quite a bit of ground between you and your enemies, and that can make a big difference in securing your escape. So that's our 3. So we're going to go 1, which is of course our ability thing, and then we're going to go 3, which is our teleport that we just looked at, and then we're going to go 1 again because my god is powerful, and we'll go into 2, which we shall look at now. And 2 is really cool. What I actually didn't even look at is the amount of damage that you get off of this thing is just crazy. I mean, we went for a really expensive build right here, so we're going to be doing a fair amount of damage anyway. But what you got is you got 0.75 over 3 seconds, so you got 4 ticks off of this if you hit an enemy god. You've also got 4 ticks. I believe it doesn't hit minions, I believe it hits gods. So if I were to place this where minions were going to be walking through, they'd walk through it and they'd take the damage as and when they walk through it. It won't actually attach to them, as far as I know. So the damage is pretty nice. It's 4 ticks, and each tick is doing 80 plus 96 on this, so you can call it 180. Over 4 is going to be 720, but then it's a little bit less, so call it 700. So you're doing 700 with a move that's really, designed for the purposes of teleportation. You see right there, I mean, it's just hitting him for an insane amount. That was like 98 per tick for 4 ticks. You're looking at 400 damage, and we've literally just put one, it's level 1 at the moment. Strahd doesn't want to leave us alone. Which is pretty ludicrous. It has to be said that it does that much damage. So again, it's not all about his 1. His 3 actually does quite a lot of damage as well, so that's why we're going to be leveling that at some point. But just looking into his 2 quickly, his 2 is really cool. What you can see here is you've got 3 different cones. These 2 outside cones, the more opaque, the more see-through of the 2, of the 3. They will do a little bit of damage. It's really, really small amount of damage, so I wouldn't ever use it to try and get a bit of poke on somebody, but it's just nice to know that it does damage to anybody that's around if they are in it. As you can see, the scaling is 80, which I think is 20% scaling, maybe 25, and 120 damage when it's really done, so you're looking at 200 damage, which really isn't much at all. The main purpose of it is you've already got this really cool one that has a dash on the end of it, plus all of damage. You've already got a 3 that allows you to teleport, like Combat's Monkey, and like Shaq's Hammer, that both roll into one. Now you've got this 2, as if you didn't already have enough ways of getting towards people and, you know, really being a pain in the arse, is you've got what's essentially a Hercules pull. The way that he knocks you up and pulls you towards him is essentially what this move is, and I think it's actually the same range. It looks like that is about 35. In fact, I'm sure that's what it said. Yeah, it's 35, which I think is exactly the same as Hercules. Hercules might be 40, but I think it's 35. So what you notice is you do a little bit of damage there, 104 damage, really not much against a level 10 with some protections, but as far as the actual ability is concerned, you're going to be using it primarily for just pulling people towards you and just being a real pain in the ass. So if they're trying to get away or anything like that, even to start your engagement, it's a great way just to close that last bit of gap that they're going to be, you know, really alert and really trying to, you know, especially if it's a mage or something like that, really trying to keep the gap between the two of you, and that totally just stops them from doing that. So we've got 1, 2, and 3. As you can see, like 976, I think that was. You crit like crazy. This build is really expensive, but if you can get there eventually, then it's a treat. But like I said at the beginning, I would recommend building something slightly hybrid with, you know, get your cooldowns on. Getting cooldowns on this guy is like super essential, just for getting in and out, making sure that you can use all of your abilities all of the time. And obviously, if you're going into arena or something like that, normally you're going to have 3 physical, 2 magical. So having some physical protection right at the beginning is great. Straight away after, you can go into your damage and then also finish out the rest of your cooldown with 40% max. And then the rest of these are just damage. Well, you've got some magical protection here as well to cover the other 2 that you're going to be fighting against, typically anyway, and the nice little aura that you get off a Brilliant Shield. So that takes us into our ult, which we have got here. The ult is really cool. It's just another way to completely assault whoever you're chasing down, because most of the time you're going to be chasing somebody down, you'll pick them out from the pack and you'll start working on them. I wouldn't really use this move on multiple gods, because to me it feels like it's much better when you're just focusing on one target. It might hit multiple gods, but I primarily use it on one target. So the way that I do it is I normally open with my 2, and I hit them with the 2 abilities within my 1, and then I will dash out the back of it. Then I will place a 3 on them so that I've got my teleport when I need it. So we'll go like this, we'll give it a little test. We'll go 1, we'll do them 2, and I'll dash, I'll put that on him, and then I'll start, if you didn't slow me, I'll start doing some basic attacks, and then if that character does have a dash or a leap or something like that, and they use it, I'll just use my teleport to completely close the gap again, and then their dash and leaps off cooldown, and I know that I can solely concentrate on them. If that doesn't do it for you, and by the time you've done those final basic attacks they're not dead, you can use your ult as well. And the way that the ult works is pretty strong. It's not really crazy for damage, but it's really good for CC anyway. Is he summons a hurricane at his location that pulls enemies towards the center, that grows twice in size. So what you'll notice is when we have a little look at it, you've got this circle here that I think has got a 20 range on it, and then you've got this other circle outside that I think is a 55 range. Yeah, 55 range. And this circle grows into this circle, and as it does that, it sucks people in. Both circles suck people in, but this one's really sucks them in. This is like a Hades suck, the Hades ult, and this one's a little bit less, but it'll keep people in place, so they will stand there but they won't be able to move as opposed to this one where actually pull them into the middle. What will happen is I think after maybe 2.5, 3 seconds, the ability will go off and it will stay where it was and it will knock everybody up in place. And what a knock up in this game means is basically it's almost a stun. So you can count that as a stun and you can get some more basic attacks and all that type of stuff. It also stops people from getting away from you. If you're chasing them down and you put this down on top of them, they're not going anywhere. They have to fight you or they die. So that's what it can do, but what it can also do is you'll see these 2 lines down the side here. Once you've placed it, you have about 2 seconds, maybe 2.5 seconds, to then press it again, and the direction that you're facing in is the direction that the ult will go off in. So here we go. Susano may activate this ability again to launch the storm in the direction that he is facing, knocking up the opponents in his path. It also knocks them up when it goes off, but it will knock them off, whoever's in the path as well, and do the full extent of the damage, which as you can see is sitting at around about close to about 850, which is pretty sound. It's not bad damage at all, especially once you've comboed all these in. Once you've done all these 3, they're going to be pretty low, especially if you land 1 or 2 basic attacks within all that, and then this will 100% finish them, even if they're a little bit more tanky like a warrior or something like that. That will almost certainly finish them. So let's show it off. We're going to try hitting him at range first so we can just see what it's like. So as you see, it comes out, and if I press it again, it pushes forward. Now you see that went like really quite a far distance, and it's done a good damage to his health as well. So it's just, it's more utility. You've got so many options with this character, and if you can get the combo right, then he's outrageous. And he's just got so much utility. You can just get around the map however you like. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the extent of it, and that's what he's got to offer. The reason why we're doing, I don't know what that was, I think that was 1,100 something. The reason why we're doing all this damage is because we've got a stupid build. You really wouldn't want to build this. By the time you've gotten the 17,000 that it costs to build this or something similar, you're going to be up against other enemy gods that have so much damage that you will not survive like even a couple of seconds. Like any god, like just for instance any mage like Vulcan, let's say, he will be able to 2-hit you. So it's kind of pointless having all this damage if you can't actually use any of it because you're dying so quickly. And that's why I like the sort of cheaper build that you can get online quicker and gives you a little bit more protection, and then you've got the full cooldown as well, which is always nice. And if need be, if you end up getting this build, we'll quickly put it in, and you are in Joust and it's going on for a while and you've got all this extra money, then you can start swapping stuff out. Like Runic Shield is only 25 power. It does help, but it's only 25 power, so you can swap that out straight away for the incredibly overpowered Bulker of Hope. As soon as you've got that in there, you've got more magical protection, you've got health, you've got crowd control reduction, as well as the shield you gain when you drop below 30% health. So that's unbelievably good, and a good one to swap out. And Breastplate of Valor, you'd be sacrificing some cooldown, but what you could swap that out for, and this is my favourite thing to do as well, especially when I'm going up against hunters, is 90 physical protection is unreal. And reflecting 20% of all basic attack back to them is also really nice. So you know, there are items that you can swap them out for. I think this one's 2.2, so it's pretty expensive. That's actually more expensive. But yeah, nevertheless, there's ways that you can swap stuff out. I mean, if you really wanted to, you can obviously go crazy and buy manual. What wouldn't be a bad swap for the Breastplate of Valor would be Shift the Shield. That'd be pretty good. So yeah, there's definitely some options in there. What I typically buy as far as relics go is I buy Sanctuary, and then after that I buy Sprint. And the reason I buy Sprint is because a lot of the time I'll get away and people will be chasing me and they're just waiting for their abilities to come off cooldown, and as soon as they come off cooldown they can use their Sprint, their Dash, their Leap, whatever it is to get closer to me, they will try and use it. So if my abilities are off cooldown and I've got a little bit of Sprint, it's so often the difference between living and dying. And it's exactly the same as Sanctuary as well. I mean, if you see, if you're on low health heading back to base and you see anybody like like a Neath ult incoming, or a Noir ult incoming, or a Rama in the sky, or you know, you can see the Thor coming out of the sky and you know how to time it properly. It can, you know, I'm going over the basics, you guys know this, it can save you from a lot of shit. But on this dude I find it especially helpful. And that's basically the new gods. I mean, that's all you really need to know about him. It does take a while and it does take some practice to get used to him, but he's really, really versatile and he's great, and he can do an insane amount of damage, especially later on. And with the new Bloodforge, you'll see even with this build that we've got here, it's like 265. And obviously if we get rid of these two, which we didn't originally have, and
that's the nature of
get
by protecting yourself.
I think it was Royd, wasn't it? No, Rude. So yeah, even with this, you're only seeing 230, but your abilities are still doing like a real nice amount of damage, like 207 on top of 210. You're hitting at like roughly 400. Doubling that, you're hitting at 800. But you've got the sort of comfort of knowing that you can take some physical damage and you can take some magical damage without getting completely wrecked. And that's been the new god, guys. I mean, I hope it's been helpful, and this was really just a test to see if my OBS was working, but you know, this is the dude, and if you get good at him, he's a beast. I definitely recommend giving him a try.
There was nothing you could have done there.
I don't even think the kid's English, babe. I got you behind me. I have no heals until now.
There was nothing you could have done there.
Oh, fucking right.